So we're doing some homemade blackouts today.
Woohoo, more blackouts.
Yeah.
All right. So the first email is for Remy and Terry. Unfortunately, Terry does not come in this early.
No, they think that Kevin was Terry is the thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what that obviously was referencing.
That's hilarious. Okay.
People loved Kevin so much they don't even know who he was.
I think they just know that that Terry is doing a lot of your work. So.
Yeah, well, Terry would never be on camera. He's not very talkative.
No, he's super shy. Okay, well, anyways, so it says this is sort of a response to the other guy blacking out his own arm, and it ended up looking like a zombie. I would have said ended up looking like a zombie. Oof. Been getting into doing tattoos, mostly neo-trad stuff. Had my arms professionally blacked out a little while ago and wanted to get some practice of myself. Had no other choice than to do my legs. First try, whole thing took about 90 minutes. Was mildly uncomfortable, partially due to body positioning, sitting on chair with foot resting on table. This is 4 days healed and about to peel. We'll continue once this is fully healed. Gear used, Bishop Wand Liner 5 mm stroke, running between 6 to 7 volt. Quadrant Combat and Magnum 49M Panthera Black Gold. I think you want to say something about that.
Yeah, it's just 49 mag is a big mag.
Yeah.
And then Panthera Black Gold is like their dynamic black of Panthera. It's like smooth and goes in easy kind of thing, easy to work with.
Have you ever used it?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Tons.
Well, I don't know.
There's tons of Panthera Black Gold in me, but it's not the darkest Panthera.
Right. What is our favorite black for blackouts?
I think probably the preferred black, depending on what you're doing, is either going to be dynamic or Panthera XXX.
Okay.
And some people will say that dynamic is a bad black, but it really depends on what you want, and you're not going to have pitch black no matter what you're using. So
right.
With dynamic you get more of like a blue black, and with Panthera you get more of a gray black. It's not going to be jet black no matter what you do. And XXX dynamic is kind of like it's thicker and harder to work with, but it's kind of got like a more purpley base to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly not much darker at all than regular dynamic, which is it's sort of misleading because you would think that if it's triple dynamic black it should be blacker, but it's not.
Or at least
it just looks a little different.
Definitely not on Remy. Anyways, they finish up the
not at
email
all.
with hopefully the results will get better when my Vlad Avenger 2 Pro arrives. Interesting. On a side note, I feel like the Panthera Black Gold heals better than the dynamic black and burns slightly less while tattooing.
It's smoother black, like I said. It goes in and is easier to work with. See, this is like, 4 days. It's not much. You can't say a whole lot about what this is going to look like because, like, any amount of fresh blackout looks like this.
Right.
Like, it looks like it's at that crispy, about to shed point, but, like, you won't know what any of this looks like until
it starts falling
days.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard part, too. Like, sometimes when when Remy gets his hands done, we're like, oh, it looks good. And then as soon as it's peeling, it's like, well, that knuckle didn't stay.
Some of it I can see beforehand. Like, you can see kind of like black specks or now because I'm doing red over black, you can see like in the knuckle, you can see where it's not real saturated. But like what happens is our skin is to some degree dry and it bites onto the black ink.
Yeah.
And so some of it is on the skin instead of in the skin. And until all of that top layer peels off, it's really hard to even tell what's in the skin and what's on the skin.
Makes sense.
And also, when you're dealing with really thick inks, they can get pretty sticky and stuck to the skin too.
I think a good example, if you turn your head all the way to the side for a second.
Yeah, of course.
So from where I'm sitting, I think you guys are getting glare. I can actually see probably where they might have to go over this black again.
Not going over anything again. We're going to cover that.
Well, if you were going for a solid black, I can visually see little
there'll be.
spots about where I can see the old
The
black.
left side of my head. Over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No. And towards the bottom, there's a few spots
Yeah,
that you
I
can
know.
see that it'll fall out.
But that's my left side bled more than my right side.
Yeah.
But that's why you almost always need second passes, because you can't account for all of that.
I'm not attacking the tattoo.
No,
I'm
no,
just telling you.
I know, but in my case, I'm not even caring about that because I'm just going to be covering it.
That's not the point, Jer. It's the point is that we actually have a visual right now of what it would look like, and so I was using you as an example. Anyways,
That's still the same leg.
yeah, but a different angle. He's got lots of little crackies. It must be pretty dry, hey?
Yeah, it looks like he's dry healing.
Yeah, I agree with the dry healing.
Yeah, it's good-ish for this, but I wouldn't have it this dry. Once it was sealed up, I would moisturize it a little bit.
Yeah, I think
that looks crunchy as fuck.
it probably doesn't feel great. I'm a big fan of a good dry heal. So that's the end for that guy, right?
Yep.
So we got another email here, and this one's from Christopher. It says, "Hey Remy, hope all is well. I started tattooing very young. I've had to cover many things over the years, and I've grown and matured. I've done 99% of the work I'm sending you." Oh, that's awesome. I blacked out my left arm even though I'm left-handed. That's pretty badass. Obviously not as detailed as the other arm, but I'm training myself to tattoo better with my right hand so I can finish off my left arm with some hieroglyphs. Ooh, cool. I've done all the work you see as well. There's also just a ton more to go. I'm nowhere close to finish. I'm mostly going for an Egyptian themed suit. My right arm will also be blacked out mostly, besides the pharaoh planning and in process of covering up a lot more stuff. The chest piece will be a scarab with an Ouroboros surrounding it. Also, if you could throw any ideas around, that would be great. I understand all of the complaints about the non-professional tattooing, but I'm a bit past that at this point. Cheers.
This is going to be a scarab with an Ouroboros around it.
Yeah.
There's not much room for that unless you're going over the black, which will give you different values. You can certainly cover the black, but you want to black all of that out if you're going to do that, because unless it's going to be the thinnest fucking snake ever and the tiniest beetle ever.
Yeah, your scarab's going to be really, really small there.
Yeah.
I can see where you've kind of ghost lined it. He's going to be so tiny. It's going to be pretty hard to get in.
Yeah, that's not going to look great in my opinion, but yeah, you can see he's all over the place here. He hasn't learned his depths very well yet.
It's probably really hard to get them on yourself, too.
No, the best person to practice on is yourself. Terry did 400 hours on his legs. It's part of how he knows how to saturate.
Do you think the chest would be hard, though?
Well, I don't know why you would even try and tattoo your own chest. Certain parts of it you could get at, and other parts would be hard. But I guess if you're only going to tattoo yourself, I don't know.
It looks like he did his nipples. He's just the little nubs there didn't stay.
Yeah, well, that's always the case. Nipples, people will go, "Oh, I gotta get my nipples tattooed." It's no, you don't understand. You don't do that just once. Unless you're going to someone who tattoos them all the time, you're going to be doing that more than once. That's not a one and done.
So all the nipple tattoos.
It's really translucent.
Yeah, you could use another pass on this one for sure.
Wow, he's probably done several already. Based on what his chest looked like, he's just having a hard time getting it in. So, but that looks good.
Yeah, so he's having an easier time saturating his legs.
What this shows you right now is black saturation is actually more difficult than most tattoos, because his Fallout guy there looks better than his black saturation.
Right.
So, way better. So, for the people who think Blackout is the easiest, this is better than the Blackout because it's more forgivable.
I don't know how people think that blackout is the easiest. I mean, you have to try and stay in the same
every
depth.
fucking day I see at least once some idiot talking about how a child could do blackout. That guy, anyone who says that deserves to have a fucked up infection of a blackout on them.
Yeah.
It should immediately just be
I think
infection.
As a tattoo artist, I automatically probably wouldn't trust them.
Well, they're not, though. Like, those guys are just idiots, don't know what they're babbling about.
Yeah.
If you ever hear anyone say that, they're most likely a troglodyte. They've got nothing to offer to anyone, and they're just angry at everything. That's the way I view those guys. Anyone who knows anything about tattooing knows that blackout is technically one of the more difficult things to do well. And not something that most people want to be doing every day, because not only is it laborsome and hard, it's boring as fuck too.
I can't even imagine. It would be so boring.
But like, you can't not pay attention.
No.
You have to fucking think about, not fucking them up or overworking or, staying in the right layer of skin. And you see it all over this guy's work.
Yeah, and like, okay, so here's is this the one that he stopped on, I'd say?
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess he stopped. It's, again, translucent.
Yeah.
And
and I see all his Egyptian-y stuff.
All the things that aren't blackout look better than the things that are blackout.
I don't know. This pharaoh looks like he's barely there.
Yeah, but at least it's like, hey, it's a tattoo.
Yeah.
The guy who says blackout is easy would say this is good.
The thing that's getting me about all of the stuff that he has going on him is it's all really, really small.
Yeah, of course. It was all what he could accomplish in 20 minutes.
Ah.
It was like, what can I do in this half an hour after work?
Right.
That's what this all looks like to me. It was like, oh, I want a tattoo, but I don't have much time.
Yeah, I think, like, for me, the biggest problem that I'm seeing is he doesn't know what depth he needs to be in the skin at all.
No,
because it all looks like it's falling out.
That's the first thing that you learn when you're doing lines. It's like all depth and needle hang and stuff like that. So usually tattooers will start with line work for that reason, because it teaches you kind of the sweet spot in the skin and the feeling. Whereas when you just jump into saturation, like black saturation and stuff, you haven't really learned those things. And so you end up with inconsistent and blotchy looking black saturation and color saturation. So anyone who's looking to get into tattooing, you should probably spend some time doing lines first, because you'll learn more about the skin that way.
It's what we do at this shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.